Hey guys, Tomb Raider 4: The Last Revelation was released in 1999 and as you all know was a massive game. It's by far the longest of all of the Tomb Raider games and I think it's safe to say it will forever be the biggest in the series. I'd like to thank JD, Michael Woolger, and Jason Pruger for letting me run ideas by them for this review. Also, if you haven't already played Tomb Raider 4, consider this your spoiler warning. With 35 levels, there's a lot to cover, so pause the video, grab a snack, and I hope you enjoy my review. The game begins in Cambodia in 1984 with a young Lara Croft as a teenager. Her mentor, an archaeologist named Werner von Croy, agreed to her tagging along, and the first 2 levels are devoted to teaching her the basics and act as the training levels. Even if you're a seasoned Tomb Raider, the first 2 levels are fun and they're a great way to refresh Lara's skills. We also get to practice rope swinging, a new move in the series. During Lara's training, we learn the origins of her famed backpack and also get to know Von Croy better. He's a tad pompous, has a short temper, and doesn't practice what he preaches. At the end of the Cambodia section, there's a big race to the end where Von Croy gets trapped inside a tomb and Lara is unable to save him. Fast forward to present-day Egypt where Lara gains access to a tomb and starts off the Valley of the Kings section. A cool addition to her inventory is a pair of binoculars which will be useful throughout the entire game. Lara's adventure begins with a tour guide lighting torches for her throughout the tomb while you explore. Torches are another new item in Tomb Raider 4, and they will be used to light the dark tombs and solve puzzles. The tomb is full of red scorpions, dogs, and several traps that you know Lara's in for one hell of an adventure. Spikes, blades, and fire traps greet Lara all while you make your way deeper into the tomb. Cool new pullable chains have been added, and walls with cutouts that Lara can stick her arm inside to pull out goodies. We also get to try out another new move, being able to climb around corners when hanging from ledges. While searching through the burial chambers, the 4th level, Lara climbs on top of a sarcophagus and retrieves the Amulet of Horus. Its importance in the game will soon be revealed to the player. The burial chambers are loaded with mummies, which are new to the series, as well as more dogs. The mummies make the most disgusting noises, and they're pretty creepy as soon as you find out you can't kill them with normal ammo. There's a spinning blade trap in one room which is genius, exactly what you'd expect to find deep in the tombs. A very cool concept is a room that you can change the orientation of by throwing different levers. At the end of the level, Lara finds her way back outside and reads the inscription on the Amulet of Horus. She discovers that whoever removes the amulet releases Set, along with a whole lot of trouble. During a cutscene, Lara's guide points the gun to her head and demands the amulet. Luckily for her, an explosion goes off, giving her a chance to pull out her guns, and then we see Von Croy pull up. Let the drama begin. If not already obvious from the cutscene, we quickly learn Von Croy has a serious beef with Lara, as the next level, Valley of the Kings, has several baddies shooting at her and launching grenades from their vehicle. This is an incredibly fun level with stunning scenery. We get the keys to a jeep and it's a blast running over baddies, avoiding grenades, and jumping over spiked pits, all while being accompanied by some pretty sweet music. Next up, in KV5, things get a little crazier. There's more baddies and traps to avoid while driving. Care for a spin with some rolling spiked balls? It's also great fun driving into stilts, holding up platforms, and then returning to finish off the baddie. Once you've finished your rampage, we cut to a FMV of Lara boarding a ferry while escaping more of Von Croy's men. She visits an old friend named Jean-Yves, who has learned that Lara has accidentally released Set. Jean-Yves reads a manuscript talking about armor needed to complete the ceremony, and Lara figures Von Croy must already be after it. One of my all-time favorite quotes is from this cutscene.
And Set saith, I am the shadow across the sun. I am the bringer of plagues. My wrath will consume all lands and shall be ceaseless.
She heads to Karnak and Alexandria to track it down. The Karnak section is comprised of 6 levels. The Temple of Karnak and Great Hypostyle Hall are incredibly fun to explore, and there are several scorpions and breakable jars. We also come across a new type of door, an underwater door Lara has to pry open and use her legs to make it swing open. Things are pretty quiet until a cutscene shows Von Croy and his men arriving, so we know they're hot on Lara's trail. One note about the inside of the buildings is how beautifully decorated they are. There's bright colors, patterns, and amazing pictures etched into the walls. Sacred Lake, the 9th level, is a stunning level with water, crocodiles, amazing music, and scenery. There's a new type of underwater lever that Lara pulls, and somersaults in the water that's pretty cool. There is a room with poles that are fun to jump onto, slide down, and climb up. The crocodiles can be taken care of pretty quickly with the Uzis or shotgun, and after Lara retrieves a piece she needs, we can return to the Temple of Karnak. The concept of going back and forth between levels is new to the series, and a theme that will appear several times throughout this game. You need to ultimately visit the first 3 levels of this section twice to gather pickups needed to continue. It's a cool concept, but you'll need a good memory to remember where everything is. During Lara's return trips to these levels, she'll finally encounter Von Croy's men. There's a new type of baddie with collapsible swords, which is awesome and fun to take down. A cool element is the use of canopic jars we had to locate. They cause liquid to pour down through the statue's horns and causes the bowl to tip, spilling into the water. Lara can now walk on the water. Tell me this isn't the coolest thing you've ever seen. Once these 3 conjoined levels are finished, there's a gorgeous cutscene of Lara emerging from the tomb and using the Amulet of Horus to open another door. When she proceeds inside, Von Croy shows up behind her suddenly. They exchange some sarcastic comments, and Lara goes to take a shot at him. He grabs the amulet from the receptacle, sealing Lara inside. The following 2 levels, Tomb of Semerkhet and Guardian of Semerkhet, take place inside the tomb Lara is sealed in. There are fire burner traps and dogs. One of the most memorable puzzles in the game takes place during this level, the Senate board game. You play against Semerkhet and spin a board to dictate how many squares to move your piece. What's cool is there are 2 different paths through this level, depending on if you win or lose. There's a new type of baddie that's introduced in this first tomb, fire elements. They're creepy, fast, and will set Lara on fire if you don't get out of their way. You're constantly on edge until you can find a spot to extinguish these little demons. There's a ton of rope swinging, tricky circular blade traps, concealed spikes in the ground, spike balls, and slicing blades. There's an awesome bull that's intimidating and pretty challenging. You need to use him to ultimately open a door to get out. At the end, Lara finds her way out of the tomb and finds her ex-guide. She orders him to tell her where Von Croy is going. She steals his robe and hops on board a train headed to Alexandria. It would have been easy to show the cutscene of the train and begin the next section in Alexandria, but the developers had something more exciting in mind: ride the train. Overall, Desert Railroad is a 10 out of 10 for fun. It's great exploring all the cabins, killing baddies, and trying to avoid falling off. An excellent way to finish off this section. When Lara arrives in Alexandria, she meets up with Jean-Yves and informs him of Von Croy's possession of the amulet. Trying to stay positive, he says all is not lost as of yet. He still needs the armor. He suggests the catacombs under Alexandria, and Lara heads off. Coastal Ruins acts as a bridge between the following 2 levels, which are all intertwined, and it has some of the most striking scenery in the entire game. This is a really fun level as it contains a touristy spot, which is essentially a play area for Lara. It's a fake tomb that's amusing to explore, and it's here where we find the crossbow, a very sweet weapon. Outside of the Egypt adventure are a ton of skeletons running around with swords and shields, and the crossbow is very useful to slowly dismember them. The Catacombs level is a pretty big level and requires an excellent memory. It features a challenging rope swing, an ice element, tons of skeletons, and 4 tridents you need to find. Temple of Poseidon, the following level can be a bit frustrating if you missed any of the 4 tridents, and my only complaint is having a massive backtrack if you missed any. This level is pretty fun, and you'll come across 4 rooms with massive face sculptures on the walls, with their tongues sticking out. There are a ton of skeletons, and the grenade gun works amazing here. The Lost Library is a real treat, as it's a huge level to explore with some great level design. Mechanical men and a mechanical horseman are new, and really fun to shoot at. There are swinging chains, blades, and fire elements, along with a ton of rooms in the library to explore. It features several mini puzzles, and my favorite puzzle is near the end with movable globes. The ceiling is really gorgeous. The ending puzzle features fire burner snakes that's pretty challenging, and overall this is a really great level. Hall of Demetrius is a teeny tiny level mostly dedicated to a cutscene between Von Croy, his assassins, and Lara. It bridges the coastal ruins to the next level, and there's a pickup we need before continuing. The next level, Pharos, Temple of Isis, is an incredibly fun level. We start out in the water with sharks and a gorgeous underwater sculpture. Once inside the tomb, there's a golden bird that shoots energy bolts, which is pretty cool. Trap and baddie-wise, this level is loaded. Skeletons, burning oil, beetles, and spikes. We've got to collect beetles, and to do so, have to pass through a variety of trapped rooms filled with oil and fire. Cleopatra's Palaces, the final level in the Alexandria section, is one of my favorite levels in the game. Somehow, foliage is managing to thrive down there, and the tomb is beyond stunning. There are water fountains, art all over the walls, and the architecture is really beautiful. This level is loaded with spikes, skeletons, and scissor blades, which are really fun. There are hallways of concealed spikes and another golden bird. What makes this level so fun is the mechanical scarab that we use to set off spike traps. This idea is genius, and I love that it can break after too many wind-ups. The end of the level features 2 guardians, which are guarding the final pieces of Set's armor. After we deal with these guys, we're treated to a cutscene where Lara returns to Alexandria, only to find out Jean-Yves is missing. Von Croy kindly left a note telling Lara he wants to trade her friend for the armor, and she hightails it off to Cairo. The 5th section of the game, Cairo, takes on an entirely new look and atmosphere. Lara's in the City of the Dead, and it's pitch black. We finally gain access to the motorcycle and sidecar we saw earlier in the game, and it's a lot of fun to drive. It's a bit bulky, so tight turns can be tough, but it's an excellent way to get around the city, running over soldiers, making jumps, crashing through barricades, and of course, lighting the way. The guards in this level have snipers equipped with laser sights, and there are a ton of gun turrets lining the streets. One of the highlights is setting a helicopter on fire, and once again we find ourselves in a level acting as a hub to others. Next up, Lara finds the chambers of Tulin to be full of deep pits, more soldiers, giant flying beetles, and the real treat, a Minotaur with a massive hammer. The sole purpose of this level is to get past the Minotaur to the next level. Also, it can be quite confusing here as 2 levels are accessible at this point. Lara arrives to Citadel Gate, the next level, to find a wounded soldier and a massive fire-breathing dragon blocking her way. After some conversing, the soldier and Lara strike up a deal. If she retrieves a mine detonator and the codes, he'll take care of the little roadblock. This level is pretty cool. Aside from the dragon, there's crocodiles running rampant on the streets, locusts, and more giant beetles. Lara retrieves a nitrous oxide canister for her motorcycle, and the soldier tells Lara she'll need NOS to clear some of the obstacles. We head to the trenches level where things get a little more exciting. Soldiers, turrets, and mounted flamethrowers keep you moving fast. A cool part is using the revolver and laser sight to take out the flamethrowers, which isn't immediately obvious. Overall, this level is fairly straightforward as we collect a code card and valve. Remember that hub I was talking about? We make a brief return to the Chambers of Tulin level to hook up the nitrous oxide to the bike and finally make the long jump. We enter into an area that uses the torch in a fun way. set off the building's sprinkler system. Needless to say, we went through all of this to get a roof key, which will let us access the next level. Street Bazaar is a pretty sweet level. We start in a garage with another wounded soldier. Lara tells him she's come for the mine frequency, and he tells her the codes were in a soldier's head who's deceased. She presses him for the codes, and he suggests she searches the corpse's body. We get the mine detonator here and continue outside where it sounds like something crazy is going on. Up on the roof, we find a lightning rod that's a quick puzzle to solve. One of my favorite parts of this level is the giant bull, like the guardian we encountered before. The end of the level is interesting. Lara meets back up with Azizus, the wounded soldier, who willingly drives a truck into the dragon. Lara salutes him before continuing on. Citadel, the next level, and the final level in the Cairo section, finds Jean Yi alive and tied to a pillar. Lara frees him and he tells her Von Croy is possessed by Set. He also says he's digging under the Citadel in search of a tablet, and sure enough, a cutscene shows us the red-eyed, possessed Von Croy. This level is very dark and it's filled with fire traps, baddies, and undead knights which are interesting. It features a compass puzzle, and there's a lot of transversing, climbing, and underwater swims. At the end, Lara meets up with Von Croy and retrieves the Amulet of Horus, sealing him inside the room. The final section of the game takes place in Giza, and we begin at the Sphinx Complex level. The scenery is eerie and the sky looks incredible with a rowdy storm overhead. The level is full of deep pits and Von Croy's buddies. Overall, a straightforward and fun level. All of Lara's digging proved to be successful as we begin the next level underneath the Sphinx. The concept for this level is simple, but the gameplay makes it fun and challenging. The infamous Guardian Bulls make another appearance, but this time there's a twist. They're sleeping. The choice to wake them is yours, which makes gameplay more interesting. A set of hieroglyph buttons control various doors in the level, which all lead to trapped rooms. This is one of those levels where you've got to be super responsive, as there's deep pits, concealed blades, circular blade traps, horizontal blades, spiked balls, and spike pits. Baddie-wise, there's crocodiles, beetles, and bats throughout the level. Menkuri's Pyramid is a fantastic level. We venture outside once again and immediately are greeted by a gigantic scorpion. The grenade launcher is the best weapon of choice to blow the crap out of these guys. The highlight of the level isn't splattering scorpion guts all over though. We soon arrive at the base of Menkuri's Pyramid, which is an incredible sight. The best part of the level is scaling the side of this pyramid while killing beetles and being quick on your feet to avoid falling boulders. Miss a step and you'll be starting from the bottom again. Another highlight in Tomb Raider 4 is when Lara gets stung by a scorpion. The screen will get insanely wobbly until you heal, a really cool feature. The first time I played, I scaled the pyramid before realizing there was another area to explore first, and had to double back to get the key to the pyramid. I love this kind of level design, and I'm curious how many of you did it this way your first time too. The 30th level, inside Menkuri's Pyramid, isn't a hard level, and at this point the game started to feel a little long for me. The level is full of swinging blades, concealed spikes, and a ton of bats and mummies. There are several rope swinging opportunities with the spiked pits, and at the end of the level brings us outside momentarily to switch pyramids. The Mastabas is a fun level with a lot of exploring. It's a dark level, and we explore mostly underground with some above-ground buildings. There are an abundance of bats and dogs, which can easily catch you off guard. There's a couple of fun puzzles, and we also encounter monkeys and scorpions. One challenge is the possibility of leaving this level without obtaining all of the keys needed for a future level. I got caught with this the first time through, and it was very confusing and frustrating having to reload an earlier save game to replay it. The Great Pyramid is an excellent level. We get to scale the side of this pyramid, which, like before, is full of slippery slopes, falling boulders, and beetles. The scenery looks fantastic as we make our way into the next part of the level. The 34th level, Khufu's Queen's Pyramids, is a really fun level. Lara's got some help from soldiers to take down the gigantic scorpions, and there's a bunch of areas to explore with hidden goodies. The scenery beyond is beautiful with a variety of smaller pyramids, and it's fun to figure out how to get from pyramid to pyramid. There's a maze during this level that's full of beetles, scorpions, pressure pads, and a guardian. Overall, this level is fun, but feels a little more linear than previous levels. We're almost finished. Inside the Great Pyramid are receptacles for all the keys we've been collecting. Beautiful blue light beams are a nice addition to the dark levels we've grown used to. The rest of the level is perfect for trigger-happy people, as there's tons of baddies scattered throughout. There are deep pits and huge sliding blocks to avoid, and the level finishes as we follow the blue light. After trekking across Egypt and visiting tons of temples and tombs, we've finally reached the last level, Temple of Horus. I love the first few sections of this level, as they're fitted with fun puzzles using water skins and some nasty-looking monsters. After you've finished all 3 puzzles, we make our way to the central room of the level where we finally meet Horus. We're treated to a gorgeous cutscene before Lara is blasted backwards from an energy beam and Set takes Horus's place. All hell breaks loose as Set begins to fire blue energy bolts at Lara. Save your ammo, it won't do a thing. The challenge is avoiding the energy shots while maneuvering around the room to escape. It's a very similar concept to Tomb Raider 3's The City level. Once you escape from the room, you're not free yet. The entire tomb is crumbling, and it's a race to get out and avoid pits, block traps, and falling blocks. The place is a mess, and unfortunately Lara doesn't quite make it out in time, as we sit back to watch the final cutscene. It's an emotional sequence as Von Croy tries to help Lara, and it's hard not to think about karma as the tomb seals her in. And that is Tomb Raider 4. If you stuck it out to the end, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. In my opinion, Tomb Raider 4 was a fantastic game, but it started to feel a little long towards the end. I think if they shortened some of the Cairo levels and got rid of some levels in the final section, it would have been the perfect length. Feel free to share which sections you liked and didn't like below the video. If you've been enjoying my reviews and my other videos, please show your support by subscribing to my channel, and of course follow me on Twitter for video news and Tomb Raider news. I'll see you later.